Hi, everyone. I saw some names that I've seen before on the class roster. My name is Lisa Briseño, and I am pursuing a mild moderate education specialist credential via the intern pathway. So I'm working at a public high school in Sacramento County. Our high school has around 1,800 students. I think it's slightly less than that. The special education department is comprised of 5 mild moderate teachers, of which I'm one, uh, 2 moderate severe teachers, one who does inclusion, and one whose classroom is for medically fragile students. And then 2 teachers in the counseling enriched program, which was formerly known as emotional disturbance. And then in addition to that, I'm part of the math department because I'm teaching specialized academic instruction mathematics foundation courses. So as for as far as IEPs and things like that, we work really closely with the 3 assistant principals, the school counselors. Our campus has 2 full-time marriage and family therapists who provide individual counseling services, both to students who have that as a service on their IEP and then the general education population. We have a speech language pathologist, a full-time school psychologist, and a part-time school psychologist. If our students have any other services, occupational therapy, behavior needs, etc., assistive technology, those service providers are on the district roster and are sent out to sites as needed. And then I feel like I'm being supported by a lot of mentoring on my campus. So, of course, I have my district service provider, which is a requirement for Alliant. I have a special education mentor who is getting a stipend to work with me. And what's great is that we work in the same office. Our desks are right next to each other, and we already know each other from last year. So that feels really good. The TOSA is a teacher on special assignment. This is someone who goes around to support new teachers and new to the district teachers and those who are working towards induction and clearing their credentials. And then my program specialist. So yes, I'm teaching IM1 foundations and IM2 foundations. Last year, my class was 10 students. It has doubled. And one of the reasons for that is that they did away with the Math 100 course. So those 6 students who otherwise would have taken Math 100 have been rolled into my class for the year. And so far, so good. It is definitely going to create some learning opportunities for me as far as how to best serve all these students, because an already kind of wide spectrum of ability levels has widened even more with the addition of those students. And then, yeah, my second block class has 9 students. What's fun about this class is that when the 11th graders were freshmen, their teacher went out for around 6 weeks for a surgery for a medical leave, and I was their long-term sub then. So we've already worked together and know each other real well. This year, I volunteered to do an advisory. I'm not required to under my contract, but we are trying to, in our special education department, really make connections with the campus and not be as segregated and isolated. And so one of the things I chose to do was to take on an advisory. So I'm working with 20 ninth graders in a homeroom type situation where we meet at least once a week. And that way, I'm known by more students on campus than just those in my classes or students that I work with on my caseload, and just more connected to the campus and more visible. So that's one of our goals as a special education department this year. And then my caseload, as it stands right now, I have 22 on my caseload, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. So 8 of my students are new to me this year. I have 8 ninth graders. So yeah, second year in the same position. One of the questions was, what is your teaching experience? And I guess it depends what you think comprises teaching experience. So I have been in a classroom basically every day since the fall of 2016 when I was a student teacher. And I was going for a secondary English credential at that time. At the end of that experience, I decided I didn't really want to teach English, and I didn't know what to do with myself. So I started substituting. I subbed for a long time. It was really kind of the right fit for me. I loved the flexibility. I loved the variety. I learned so much in all the different classrooms and settings that I found myself in. So I feel like, yeah, I just feel like there's nothing I can't handle in a classroom after all of that. I worked as a dedicated sub on the campus where I have now been hired. I've done multiple long-term sub positions, mostly in English, but also in special education. During distance learning, I was substituting from my living room. And then one year I was on a temporary staff permit for 8 months, covering for a high school English teacher who was out on medical leave. So from this class, yeah, it's just that, right? It's learning opportunities. Just what can I get out of it? In particular, I'm trying to work on developing my time management because I've been getting my rear kicked the last couple weeks. I mean, the start of the year is busy, but then with the start of this class and the finishing up of the last class and having that extra layer of things to do this year, I did get behind, and we haven't even started Ed TPA yet. So I'm going to need to hone in my skills there. I think the benefit to these courses is learning from each other, sharing our experiences, learning from each other's perspectives on the different topics that we're discussing. And then professionally this year in the math department, we're moving toward a building thinking classrooms methodology, and school-wide, we're moving towards standard-based grading. So those are two other kind of big areas for learning and growth this year. All right, that's about it. Thanks.